and it looked like Chennedy Carter has finally broken her silence about this Caitlin Clark situation. Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin.
Chennedy Carter has finally broken her silence about the Caitlin Clark situation, and in doing so, she has essentially justified what many view as an assault on Clark, all while the WNBA season approaches in just a few weeks and every notable free agent has found a home except Carter, the same player who delivered that notorious shoulder check to Clark last June and now finds herself without a team.
You break down that situation that happened.
Yeah. So, in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, you know, that's a part of basketball.
Something called talking smack, and plays before things are said, that is just part of the game. But while Clark prepares for her sophomore season with skyrocketing popularity, Carter is trying to explain herself on streaming platforms, claiming it was just basketball and just a little tap, yet WNBA teams are not buying it, leaving fans to question whether this is karma, whether it is fair, or whether Carter is being made an example of for how players should treat the league's new superstar.
We know Chennedy Carter has always been kind of up against the fence when speaking about this Caitlin Clark situation. We remember when she first got asked about this during a press conference, she stated that she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark. Now we know months later, she still hasn't spoken on the whole situation. That is until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broken her silence about the Caitlin Clark.
Chennedy Carter has always been somewhat guarded when speaking about the Caitlin Clark situation, as we remember when she first got asked about it during a press conference and stated she was not going to speak on Clark, but now months later she has finally broken her silence about the hip check, that moment last.
I mean, that's clearly a foul which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter
June when she deliberately rammed into Clark, an incident that would ultimately define Carter's career during what should have been just another regular season matchup between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever. That is clearly a foul, which was called, but the question is whether they will call it unnecessary. So let us break down exactly what happened frame by frame, as after scoring a basket, Carter veered sharply across the court not to get back on defense but with clear intent toward the unsuspecting Clark, with no basketball reason for that path, and the replay shows Carter blurting a few choice words before eyeing Clark and delivering a hard shoulder check that sent the rookie sprawling to the.
So she was signed to the Chicago Sky with Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and you know, the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue, and it was really just poor sportsmanship on
the deliberate nature of this contact unmistakable to anyone watching. She was signed to the Chicago Sky alongside Teresa Weatherspoon, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and the rest of the team, and then we get to the body check, which was originally ruled an away from the ball foul but was obviously a flagrant foul, upsetting a lot of people and escalating the issue, and it was really just poor sportsmanship on Kennedy's part.
One thing pushing Caitlin Clark, and it's another thing blindsiding her. Like, I don't think there's no justification for that. Like, to be honest, we can be honest.
What is particularly revealing is how officials initially deemed it merely a common foul, a routine call that happens dozens of times each game, but once they reviewed the footage, they immediately upgraded it to a flagrant. Because the replays do not lie, this was not incidental contact during a play but rather an off-ball intentional blow delivered after a completed basketball action. It is one thing pushing Clark and another thing blindsiding her, and there is no justification for that, because to be honest, Clark's response speaks volumes about her character, as despite being blindsided and not.
Now what little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you're targeted like that? How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. It's so dumb. It looks like a...
To the floor, she simply got up without complaint, brushed herself off, and focused on the next play with no dramatics, no retaliation, just a professional getting back to work, while commentators and fans erupted in outrage, recognizing that what they had witnessed was not basketball but a deliberate attempt to intimidate or harm another player. What little girl wants to grow up and play in a league where you are targeted like that? And how can you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you cannot even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? Because it is stupid and dumb and looks like a soap opera.
Atlanta Dream did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks, the Los Angeles
first rodeo when it comes to on-court issues, as her history of volatility became a major talking point after the Clark incident, because in 2021 while playing for the Atlanta Dream, she was suspended indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team following a heated argument that escalated beyond acceptable bounds. And this pattern of behavior had already raised red flags about her professionalism and ability to function within a team structure as Atlanta Dream.
About all of this immediately after that push, this is what she said to the media.
On the play before bumping in with Caitlin, it seemed like she turned to you a little bit after the fever
I ain't
score.
answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say.
The middle of her sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and team culture, and then they decided to trade her to the Los Angeles Sparks. The timing could not have been worse for Carter, because the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth with viewership and attendance records shattered, much of it driven by Clark's arrival, and the league is rightfully protective of this momentum by emphasizing professionalism as it garners mainstream attention, and in this environment, the Sky Forward's actions stood in stark contrast to the image the league is cultivating. Immediately after that push, when asked about the play before bumping into Clark and whether Clark said anything to her, Carter responded that she did not know what was said, and she would later attempt to explain away what millions saw with their own eyes, but the damage was already done, as the shoulder check was not just a simple foul or even just a bad moment but represented a career-defining mistake that transformed her from a player with considerable potential into someone teams actively.
I said Chennedy Carter wasn't going to make a WNBA roster. And as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Chennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster. Want to know why? Because it's Chennedy Carter's fault she's not on any WNBA roster.
Avoid, and now she is breaking her silence. Basketball is physical, competitive, and intense, but there are unwritten boundaries that separate tough play from unnecessary aggression, and Carter's actions crossed that line in spectacular fashion, with the WNBA's collective response showing exactly where the league stands on protecting its players and its image. As training camp starts for teams in 7 days, Chennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster, and those unwritten boundaries she crossed have left her career hanging by a thread, so now she is scrambling to rewrite the narrative before it is too late, and just days ago with training camp looming and still no contract in sight, she sat down for it.
I think a play before, maybe I was elbowed. Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said, and then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face. And then we go down the court, then I hit like a little bucket, you feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just like, just give her like a little like, I'm here. Like, I don't think it was, what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting like pushing LeBron. Like, I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who like pushed LeBron out of bounds, like said, man, I was mad because like.
Interview that has basketball fans everywhere shaking their heads in disbelief. Carter suggested that maybe she was elbowed on a play before, that something was said, and that after hitting a bucket she just gave Clark a little "I'm here" energy, but her attempt to explain away what millions witnessed firsthand is nothing short of astonishing, as she casually dismissed the deliberate shoulder check as merely talking smack and giving Clark a little tap, which completely contradicts the forceful impact that sent Clark tumbling to the hardwood.
She did. She stopped and went through. Like, that is not... We watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Like, saying that it was nothing. Like this is not just...
Particularly telling is the stark contrast between Carter's nonchalant characterization and the forceful impact that sent Clark tumbling, because the footage does not lie and there was nothing subtle or routine about that contact, And what makes this revisionist history even more transparent is her sudden claim that she may have been elbowed before the play, a convenient new detail conspicuously absent from any previous statements and thoroughly debunked by video evidence showing no.
It's like one of those things, like, it happens in basketball. I know people try to say, oh, it's not one of those things.
It's not a personal thing, it's a competitive thing.
It happens in basketball, and like it's just one of those things. But like, yeah, it's kind of what happened. Then it spiraled out of control.
And then the media takes whatever narrative they want to
Do you
put out.
watch every game, every single game, to see if you can find any deflects in my game, and like, it's really nothing that you probably could say too much about. So then you have trolls, and that's what I said. They're gonna be around regardless. But yeah, it was just like a nice little like tap, like I'm here, not to like harm you or anything. You know, if you want to push somebody, you're gonna like.
Whatsoever, making this belated justification ring hollow to even casual observers. Carter insists it is one of those things that happens in basketball, that it is not personal but competitive, and that the media takes whatever narrative they want to find. But she says it was just a nice little tap to let Clark know she was there, not to harm her, and if you want to push somebody you would go full force. Yet her words fail to match the reality of what the footage clearly shows.
This is crazy, and this changes everything, because all this time we've been waiting on Chennedy Carter to take responsibility for what she did to Caitlin Clark. It shows me, I ain't even got to watch all this footage right here, but I am going to look at it. But it's showing me right now that she still is not taking responsibility for her actions. She's finna blame this whole situation on Caitlin Clark supposedly talking smack to her.
Wasted no time calling out the obvious damage control operation, with one fan's comment perfectly capturing the collective eye roll by asking whether anyone seriously believes her, and this reaction was not isolated, as basketball communities across platforms responded with similar skepticism to what many view as a desperate attempt at image rehabilitation. All this time we have been waiting on Chennedy Carter to take responsibility for what she did to Clark, but she still is not taking responsibility and is instead blaming the whole situation on Clark supposedly talking smack, and the timing could not be more transparent, because with the 2025 training camp fast approaching and Carter still unsigned, this interview looks less like setting the record straight and more like an emergency PR campaign, as after months of silence about the incident.
That happens, man. Like, it's one of those things. I'm a great player, she's a great player. It looks a certain way. Everybody's gonna have their views on it. But my personal view is, you know, I don't have anything against her. She's a great player, and so am I. And I've got buckets all that season, you know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things that, I love it though. They think I hate it, I love it. I love when it gets riled up and juicy like that.
You feed off of like what people say and shit, and it makes you more motivated.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Oh yeah, I love the hate. I love that.
Yeah.
Carter suddenly feels compelled to offer her perspective just as teams are finalizing their rosters. Carter says it is just one of those things, that she is a great player and Clark is a great player, and that everybody will have their own views, but personally she does not have anything against Clark and loves the attention because she feeds off what people say, as she loves the hate and embraces the negativity.
Look, bro, this is her pretty much begging for a team to pick her up. Oh, it's just part of basketball. That's not part of basketball, bro. What you did to Caitlin Clark, you can't justify that assault.
Perhaps the most revealing aspect of Carter's rehabilitation tour is her complete reversal on Clark's abilities, because remember when she questioned what Clark brings to the table besides three-point shooting, yet that dismissive tone has magically transformed into praise, with Carter now referring to Clark as a great player and even comparing her to LeBron James. And this dramatic shift in rhetoric suggests less of a genuine change of heart and more of a calculated strategy to appear reasonable and remorseful without actually accepting responsibility. This is a bad look, as Carter is pretty much begging for a team to pick her up by claiming it is just part of basketball, but that is not part of basketball and you cannot justify that assault, and basketball analysts have pointed out how Carter's explanation fundamentally mischaracterizes normal physicality in professional basketball, because her actions were not just unsportsmanlike but represented a threat to the league's brightest star and its future, and there is a world of difference.
Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault on Caitlin.
Physical play and deliberately targeting another player after the whistle. What Carter still does not seem to grasp is that her problem is not just the incident itself but her continued inability to take genuine accountability, because by downplaying the severity of her actions and attempting to introduce fictional provocations, she is reinforcing the exact concerns that have made teams hesitant to sign her. Chennedy Carter justified an assault on Clark, and the interview has accomplished the opposite of its likely intended purpose, because instead of rehabilitating her image, it has further cemented the perception that Carter struggles with accountability and may not be a reliable teammate. And while talent has never been her issue and she has proven herself capable of scoring at the highest level, talent alone is not enough when questions about character and team chemistry loom this large, as
her actions prove that no team is willing to bet their luck on her. Now, granted, she's a dominant scorer, excellent basketball player in certain aspects of the game, but her behavior on and off the court is making it look real shady for her to get picked up by a team.
basketball is ultimately a team sport built on trust, and when a player shows they are willing to target a star opponent with a non-basketball play and then refuse to take responsibility for it months later, it raises serious red flags about how they will function within a team environment. So Carter's attempt to reframe the narrative has only emphasized why she remains unsigned while players with less raw talent have secure roster spots, proving that no team is willing to bet their luck on her.
There has not been a peep about anywhere that she could be landing in this free agency. So a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is she worth the risk?
Granted, she is a dominant scorer and an excellent basketball player in certain aspects of the game, but her behavior on and off the court is making it look real shady for her to get picked up by a team, and the basketball world operates on an unwritten code that separates tough competitors from problematic teammates. And right now Carter is experiencing something almost unprecedented in WNBA history, because in a league constantly searching for offensive firepower, a player who averaged 17.5 points per game last.
I mean, she can score. She can score with the lights out. I mean, she can. She's pure offense, a pure shooting guard, scoring guard, instant offense. But if you're a team, do you really want her on the team? I would.
Season remains completely unsigned with training camps opening in just days, and there has not been a peep about anywhere she could be landing in free agency. So many are wondering whether she is worth the risk. What is particularly revealing is the Chicago Sky's decision to not even offer Carter a qualifying contract, because think about that for a second. They let their leading scorer walk away without attempting to retain her or get anything in return, and in professional basketball, teams simply do not allow top offensive talents to leave unless there are serious underlying issues that outweigh their on-court production. She can score with the lights out and is pure offense, a pure shooting guard and scoring guard who provides instant offense. But if you are a team, do you really want her on the team? And when pressed about the decision, Chicago Sky GM Jeff Pagliacca carefully crafted his response by stating that changes to the team's staff and roster impacted Carter's fit, framing the move as giving her the best opportunity as a free agent. But this calculated corporate speak barely conceals the real story.
Man, good luck. Good luck. I don't know who's going to take her. I don't know what teams are going to take her. No, I don't think she's going to the Indiana Fever. I mean, yeah, bring her in after what happened. I don't think.
Behind closed doors reports indicate significant locker room tension and concerns that Carter's presence was creating an environment detrimental to team cohesion. The most damning assessment comes from an anonymous WNBA executive who did not mince words by saying they would not touch her with a 10-foot pole, and this brutal honesty reveals just how toxic Carter's reputation has become throughout the league. Because when executives are willing to make such statements even anonymously, it signals a player has crossed from being merely controversial to becoming radioactive. No one knows who is going to take her, and she is definitely not going to the Indiana Fever after what happened, and these concerns extend beyond just one incident with Clark, as teams are worried about Carter's overall impact on their ability to attract and retain other free agents. Because in today's WNBA, where player movement and roster building are increasingly sophisticated, no team wants to risk signing a player who might drive away other talent or disrupt carefully constructed team chemistry. What?
Cheer for your teammates, be a part of this team, and then ensues an altercation between the two where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, of which afterwards, after the game, this is what has been reported. I guess Chennedy Carter wanted to fight Courtney Williams, like physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away from this and was like, no way. So there was no actual physical altercation that happened.
What makes this situation particularly striking is that the WNBA is experiencing unprecedented growth and attention, with new broadcasting deals, increased corporate sponsorships, and exploding viewership, so the league is intensely focused on capitalizing on this momentum. And reports suggest the WNBA is considering implementing stricter rules for player conduct specifically in response to incidents like Carter's flagrant foul, with the clear message that the league will protect its image and its stars. During this critical growth period, there was an altercation where Chennedy Carter was sent to the locker room mid-game, and afterwards it was reported that she wanted to physically fight Courtney Williams, who backed away and said no way, so there was no actual physical.
Extent, like you can criticize, especially on the court, when somebody 100% cheap shots your favorite player. Like, there's a level of going at. We all know with Chennedy Carter went way too far. Like, we can be honest here, it did go way too far.
Altercation that happened. Carter's situation differs significantly from other players who have received second chances after misconduct, because the combination of factors working against her is unique, including the high-profile victim, the lack of genuine accountability, the repeated pattern of behavior dating back to her suspension from the Atlanta Dream, and the timing amid the league's expansion. And while some players have overcome similar issues, they typically demonstrated sincere contrition and a willingness to change. But the most telling aspect of Carter's situation is not the absence of a contract but the complete silence from all 12 franchises, with no workout invitation, no training camp opportunity, and not even rumors of interest. And this collective judgment represents something far more significant than punishment for a single flagrant foul. It is a league-wide verdict on her character and professionalism. You can criticize when somebody cheap shots your favorite player, and we all know with Chennedy Carter it went way too far, because basketball executives understand that talent alone does not win championships, as team dynamics, locker room culture, and player relationships matter enormously in a sport where 5 people must function as a cohesive unit. And Carter's situation demonstrates how quickly a promising career can unravel when a player develops a reputation for putting personal vendettas above team success. So as the WNBA prepares for what promises to be its most watched season ever, the contrast between its brightest star and its most notable absence could not be more striking, because while Clark's star power fuels unprecedented growth, Carter's absence serves as a powerful reminder that talent alone is not enough. And the league has made its priorities crystal clear by protecting the professionals who embody its values and vision for the future, even if it means leaving scoring talent on the sidelines.